introduced. My name's Eileen, and first of all, thank you for the great introduction. And second of all, I am so honored to be in this conference, as I am in the beginning of my, I would say, career in this field. So I'm very interested on hearing other researchers and their perspective and how they see this field. So thank you for the invitation. So. I wanted to give a little bit of a brief intro about Latvia to maybe introduce where it is, and most importantly to see the population, as it is only, well, after the previous presentation it seems a lot, but it's still just like the population of Budapest, so it's actually not that much. We like to say that we're 2 million, actually we're a little bit of less, but let's just stick with 2 million. So starting with the Latvian space sector, it is actually really interesting because when you Google anything about Latvian space in the media or news, there is not a lot of information about it, but there's actually a lot of organizations that deal with these subjects, and there are around 50 that are active and engaged in this sector. And what is interesting, at least for me, is that they are engaged in the sector because they see the valuable addition that this could bring. So it's both not just in space or just on Earth, but they see that they can do these technologies and also other resources both in space and Earth. So about the agencies. So Latvia has been cooperating with the ESA since 2015, but been a member since 2020, which is not that long ago. However, we have around 70 projects in our portfolio, which is not that small of a number. We have also an international mission just 2 years after we became a member, so 2022, which is also interesting, but again, no big information in the news, so it is kind of overwhelming, but a concluding factor in my presentation that not a lot of people know about these things, and maybe that's one of the factors that Latvia is not going as quickly or as further as we would like to go. So about the companies. It is interesting to see what sectors that do these companies deal in. So it mostly goes with these 5 that I have mentioned here, which is robotics, photonics, smart materials, bioeconomics, and information and communication technologies, but many more also, but these are the main ones that you can find. So you may ask what makes Latvia stand out with these technologies. First is the one that I think is most talked about is the Greine radio telescope complex, and it's actually quite significant global space sector, as there are many researchers done with this help. But it includes the largest RT32 radio telescope in the north. You can see the picture. I don't know why it is so bad quality. Excuse me for that. But the infrastructure can be used both for exploration as well as for commercial services. So it has dual use in this factor. Another interesting thing to mention is the Schmidt system optical telescope, which is located in Belgrade. It was installed in 1967, but is still working, and it's actually the largest one in Baltics and the 12th largest in the world. And not a lot of people know this, but it is used for a lot of different research and cooperation. So it can be used also for different reasons. So going on to the SpaceStrategy, we have that. I am very happy that at least we have a direction which Latvia sees this sector going. The SpaceStrategy is for 6 years, and I think it's a great time to talk about it because we are in the middle of it. We have 4 years behind us, 3 years behind us, but 2 years or 3 to go. So we can see how it goes after, but essentially what it is, it's an operational document, but it is developed by 2 ministries, which is at least was interesting for me. to see that it was developed both by Ministry of Education and Science and both by Ministry of Economics, and you will see in its purpose where it kind of reflects. So the aim of the strategy first is to construct and coordinate space policy related matters in the state, and then the second is to demonstrate the willingness of the stakeholders to work together and actually do something in this field. So important to know that it is a joint vision. It's not one ministry that sees this field, but two. So you can see it in this focus that I mentioned. First is the development of the recurring products and services that could have great export potential. This is where the economic side shows. And second is the generation of world-class knowledge in space and related science disciplines, and that is where the education ministry shows and science. So you can see that this definitely is a joint vision. So moving on to the space law, this is the sad part, at least for me, that currently Latvia is collaborating with the Space Center governance because we don't have any regulation that is on paper and in law format. But yeah, they are developing it and looking how do we need space law and what opportunities it can bring. So why we need this regulation, at least from my perspective. First is that this is a new sector and it has increased activity. As you can see in the short amount of time how quickly everything has developed in Latvia. And I believe that it needs some kind of governance because we have, well, nothing besides the strategy. Then the second is that it is quite powerful space economy. You can see from the previous two presentations how it shows. And we have many manufacturers and organizations and everything in this sort of field, but there is nothing that tells them the way to go. And also if the fast-growing industry is under a threat because there are no principles or laws that would govern them, so they also don't know how to navigate this new field. So how Latvia plans to regulate it? I put the picture of building blocks because I think there are four ways how we can start. First is the international space treaties, which is the highest form. Latvia has not signed the Artemis Accords, and Latvia is currently researching if we should sign and what benefits it could bring. Also about the moon and every other treaty, Latvia has not signed them as well. So it is kind of a grim situation to look at, but I'm hopeful that it would in the future. The second is the regional space policy. This is where we are doing a better job, in my opinion, because we are involved. As I already mentioned, the European Space Agency and this European Space Program, we're actually very active in those, so at least we can see positive reinforcement in that. Then it's the national space policy. This would include the national space law that we currently do not have, and then the commercial standards, as already mentioned in the previous presentation. That is about the infrastructure and the businesses. So when can we expect its own space law? My short answer, if I would be asked this question, is that we don't know. As I was asking some scholars and looking at the information, nobody has a set date or a vision when it would be. But the long answer is that the Space Center currently is now developing a document. It would have an advisory power, but still it would have something that would push this further. So what would these national laws change? So first, it would obviously create a legal framework for these activities and would show these risks and actually talk about the governmental responsibility. The second is that for those who wish to participate in this field, it would create some kind of confidence on what it would bring and what is this sector. Then the third is that these laws can support governmental investments in this sector. And then the fourth is that it could also change the sustainable development of the economy and promote international cooperation, which was also mentioned beforehand. And then the last one is that it can also impact state security, which was an interesting point, because when researching, it also showed that, as we know, there are technologies that could be used in the defense sector, but this can also, these laws can also regulate this. So what Latvia is doing now currently regarding this space governance. First of all, Latvia has a space strategy, which is already kind of a vision and a way forward how we are thinking, how we can move on. And it shows that Latvia sees the potential that this sector has and the opportunities that we can have. Then the second is that we have invested in the space industry, which is already showing the interest, and that we have many projects already mentioned previously. Then the third is that Latvia is partnering with the Center of Space Governance, as already previously mentioned, for drafting their own space laws. And I think that is a good way to move forward. So yeah, thank you for your attention.